Jack Ma comes out and gives a speech on October 24th, which I think all of us have read, or you read some of the commentary on what he said. I'll kind of say a couple of the stuff that he gave the speech on October 24th. He came up, he says, look, I'm a semi-retired man. I'm just Jack Ma. I'm going to give a message to you today. You're either going to think this is immature, incorrect, or laughable. But I'm just going to give this message to you. That's how he kind of set the whole thing up, where it was kind of making him be safe. And then he got up and he started talking. He says, look, there's 3 challenges that we're facing today. One is lack of financial system, that China doesn't have a financial system because we built too fast. Number 2, innovation must come at a price. And number 3, credit management. Okay, and he goes and talks about credit management. I'm going to read a couple of these things that he said, which is pretty epic on how he explained credit management. Jack Ma, he goes up and in a part of his speech, he says, President Xi once said, success does not have to come from me. I understand this phrase to be about a sense of responsibility. It's about taking responsibility for the future, for tomorrow, for the next generation. Many of the world's problems today, including China's, can be solved by innovation. However, for real innovation to happen, no one will show you the way, and someone must shoulder that responsibility, because innovation is bound to make mistakes. Watch this. Let me read that one more time. President Xi once said, success does not have to come from me. He says in a speech, Jack Ma, I understand this phrase to be about a sense of responsibility. It's about taking responsibility for the future, for tomorrow, for next generation. Many of the world's problems today, including China, can be solved by innovation. However, so if you just go, President Xi says this, I understand he's saying this. However, for real innovation to happen, no one will show you the way, and someone must shoulder the responsibility, meaning President Xi must shoulder the responsibility, because innovation is bound to make mistakes. But the question is not how not to make mistakes, but whether we can perfect and correct them after making mistakes and persistently innovate. To make a risk-free innovation is to stifle innovation. To make risk-free innovation is to stifle. That's such a powerful statement to make. To make risk-free innovation is to stifle innovation. There is no risk-free innovation in the world. Mm-hmm. There is no such thing as risk-free innovation. Oftentimes, managing risk down to 0 is the biggest risk. That phrase is it's like we just talked about it right now with Bitcoin. Yeah. Oftentimes, managing risk down to 0 is the biggest risk. Another part of his speech, I'll read these 2 and I'm going to turn it over to you guys. He says, today it's really difficult to regulate ourselves. It's hard to conduct regulation everywhere around the globe. Innovation mainly comes from the marketplace. Innovation comes from the grassroots. Innovation comes from young people. Regulatory challenges are getting bigger and bigger. In fact, Xian, which means supervision, the first character in the word for regulation in Chinese, and Guan, which is the words he uses, means management, the second character in the word for regulation in Chinese, are 2 different things. Supervision means watching you as you develop and paying attention to your development. Management means intervening when there is a problem or when there's a foreseeable problem. We are very good at management, but our supervision ability is sorely lacking. And then the last one is this, the third point. The essence of finance is credit management. We must change the pawn shop mentality of today's finance and rely on the development of credit-based system. Today's banks continue to have pawn shop mentality. Collaterals and warranties are pawn shops. This was very advanced once upon a time. Without innovations like collaterals and warranties, there would be no today's financial institution. And the development of Chinese economy over the past 40 years could not have continued. He's been the president and CEO, I think, of the Chinese Entrepreneur Club, the chairman, and also the president of the Zhejiang General Chamber of Commerce. That's him. He says, I talk to many entrepreneurs. China's pawn shop mentality is severe, and it also affects many entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs who have collateralized all their assets. There are also some people who unscrupulously take out loans and constantly increase their leverage, taking on more debt. And he explains, as I know, borrow $100,000, you're afraid of the bank. If you borrow $10 million, both you and the bank become a bit panic. But if you borrow $1 billion, the bank is afraid of you. There's another habit. Banks just want to lend money to the big companies because they're safe. They don't want to lend money to the small business owners. This is not going to work right. Anyway, he gives this talk. After giving his 21-minute speech, people haven't seen him in public since. And it's now been 7 weeks. What do you think's going on over here?
Wow.
I'll jump in here. This is a huge story. This is, I think, pay very close attention to this world because this is a microcosm of what's happening. Number one, there's 3 options for Jack Ma right now. He's in custody, he's hiding, or he's dead. Those are literally, I think, the 3 options. He's a very, very smart individual to do what he's done in a socialist country, in a communist country, to be able to build the epitome of a capitalist company, you know. It's unbelievable. He's worth $60 billion. We had this on the docket. We were going to talk about Jack Ma and the IPO and the holding company last week. And I'm going, why is he throwing all this out there? I thought there was a shelf life. There was a ceiling for how long he could get away with this in China. He's just too much like a world-renowned capitalist for China. So my opinion, he's hiding. Okay, he was planning for this. He knows what the Chinese government is capable of, and he's hiding. I don't think you just go get Jack Ma and arrest him like some, you know, like
the reporter whistleblower that came out and said,
in Hong Kong or something, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is a huge deal. I think he's in hiding. I mean, come on. He hasn't been seen since October. This is a
richest man in
big
China,
deal.
by the way.
Richest man in China.
51 billion.
Yeah, and you know what? This should open everybody's eyes to what China is capable of. And the fact that we aren't taking them more serious. For decades, China has been a thorn in our side, a menace. Now they are like a serious, serious problem that is getting cocky. They can get away with anything. And if their strategy was to eventually control a political party in this country, control the media, I mean, they're getting very, very close to checking off a couple boxes. They are strategic. They are marching towards an end game that only they know. And this is scary, the fact that Jack Ma can just disappear. My opinion is he's hiding. He's got the resources to do it. He's planned for it for years, and he's somewhere on some island. That's what I think.
Yeah, you brought up a couple key words. Number one being control. So let's just paint a picture of who this would be in the United. If you're not familiar with Jack Ma, this is the equivalent of a Jeff Bezos saying some bad things about the U.S. government, about Trump.
Very normal in America.
And it happens every single day.
Every day.
If Tim Cook said something about Trump, it'd be like on the today's news and gone the next day, right? The Rock says something about Trump. All right, we'd laugh and joke about it. It's gone. Jack Ma says a couple things about the CCP and President Xi. He's missing for almost 2 months. This is life in China. And I actually want to throw it to you to get your opinion on it's like it's socialism at the government side, but capitalism and the working thing. But the thing that Tom brought up and I kind of had some notes on is this is about control. With Alibaba and Ant Group and everything that he's doing, he has access to hundreds and hundreds of millions of people, ultimately more than 1 billion people potentially, who can go directly to his business that CCP has no control over what he's able to do. And I think...
What do you mean?
Meaning he clearly, they do not like what he has to say.
Wait,
so
CCP has no control over what they can do to him?
No. They don't like that he has access to all these people, or his company has access to all these people.
Yeah.
And can
what?
That's my question. Is like, what is the control that
buddy,
the Communist
that's not
Party?
how it works.
Yeah, tell me how it works.
Everything is if you bow down to the regime.
Yes.
Then you get what you get.
Okay, which he has done clearly for years.
There's one thing you do not do in China is calling out President Xi.
Right.
You do not do that, buddy. And he crossed the line. Okay. So imagine. So go to the setting. Go to the setting. So it's October 24th. He's giving a speech. Speech ends. He walks off. He gets text messages. His attorney calls him. His peers call him. His attorney probably told him, don't give this speech. Did he contact his attorney, say, read this speech, this is what I want to read? And the attorney said, don't do it. You think he talked to his attorney? Maybe he didn't talk to his attorney. Did he pull off a Jerry Maguire, I'm just going to go and give this speech? I don't know. Did he take anyone's advice? Maybe he didn't take anyone's advice. If he did take someone's advice, what happened there? Say he didn't take someone's advice. He gives a speech. Right afterwards, what do people texting him? What was that all about, bro? What were you talking about? Then what else was he happening?
I mean,
maybe the talk
was he arrested right on the spot? Is the question.
Maybe there were people there saying, "Here, follow us. Somebody wants to talk to you." And boom, you go there, he's disappearing. Right? Maybe right afterwards, like, dude, I gotta get. So his friend says, "You need to leave ASAP." Gets on a private jet and leaves and goes somewhere else. No one knows. No one knows what happened right now with a guy like this. By the way, it's been 9 weeks. I said 7 weeks. It's been 9 weeks. It's been 2 months. Yeah, it's been 2 months, over 2 months since this happened. No one knows. But here's a rule of thumb. You know, the whole thing started with these guys wanting to break apart the Ant Group, right? You know, it's too big. You guys are too big. We got to find a way to, break this thing apart and et cetera, et cetera. This guy's a rich guy, billionaire, all this other stuff. The IPO all this mess that was being talked about, right? Here's how the Chinese regulators slammed the brakes on the firm's would-be record-breaking $37 billion IPO. Wait, we're not doing this, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of how this whole thing came about. The calls he got right afterwards, dude, if they come and get this guy and they're sitting with them, here's what China's not dealing with. If he disappears and they kill him, what happens to China? Go through all the situations.
That's a PR nightmare.
For China?
Are you kidding me? The richest man in China
Okay,
ends up
fair.
dead after he talks trash about Xi?
So then go there. PR
ridiculous.
nightmare. Yes.
So the Ant Group IPO was halted after the speech.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Of course.
Right, yeah.
So they kill him. So nightmare. What's the possibility of being killed? By the way,
High.
that it happened.
Yeah.
Oh, so you think it's possible that he got killed?
I'm thinking it is possible.
Okay, it's
one of
possible.
Tom's-
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think he's. Go.
So let me go
where
to
you
the
going
next
with
one.
this?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but China has to process if they do anything to this guy. Hey, how dare you talk about us this way? This is what I think would happen. They bring him in. They say, hey, we've known for the last 20 years that you're going to have a lot of influence in the country. So we've had 300 of your employees that have been insiders reporting to CCP, and we have recordings of you of 7,000 hours, and these are some of the things that you've said, and they're going to play it for him. And then we know some of your habits and what kind of girls you like and what kind of this you like and what kind of that you like and what kind of this you like. We want you to look at this packet. Okay, we are going to train you to come out, and you are going to say great things about China like you've never said before for the rest of your life. Because if you don't, you're going to lose this, that. Do you commit to that? Of what do you think he's going to say? Yes. If Jack comes out and in the next 6 months, 12 months, you see him speaking very, very highly about China, that's what took place, okay?
Right.
They got something on them. By the way, that's not a China thing. That's everything, every country
Same
thing.
thing
That's
would happen in
he was
Russia, same
America.
thing that happened
No,
in
that's
Iran.
everywhere. That's not about, that's nothing new. So I'm not putting that on China. That's a tactic that's been used for a very, very long time when it comes down to things
You're
like
saying
that.
if you have dirt on somebody, you call them into a room and you say,
but
listen, buddy, we're going to have a quick
this is a
talk.
different kind of dirt. This is an internal manipulation, trying to go on the inside, getting you all this other stuff. You think China doesn't know that Jack Ma's a threat to them because Jack Ma's pretty opinionated and he's connected with America and he's admired and loved and enamored and all this other stuff? Of course, they know that. So I think China is smart enough to not go there, but at the same time, do you think China gives a shit what the rest of the world thinks?
No.
Do you think they really do? I don't think China does.
And if a
You
country
don't
like
think
the
that China
no.
cares what the rest of the world
What do you
thinks?
think China cares more about? Do you think China cares more about their system, their values, their principles, what they do, than what you think about how they handle certain situations?
Yes, but if you start questioning their system, that's when I think they get a little like everything that happened with Daryl Morey in the NBA and the Hong Kong protesters.
Do you think China is the kind of player where this is what happens? Let me give you a scenario. You know how a player screws up and they come out and next thing they say what? I just want to say on behalf of my family, I'm very disappointed in my behavior. This is not something that I do. I let down my wife.
They're not going to apologize. I see what
you
you're
think
saying.
that's China?
No.
Yeah, China's not going to. China's going to say no. That's who we are.
Yeah.
This is our system. Period. We don't apologize for that.
And they don't want people questioning it.
You do not do that to China.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Especially when you're the richest man in China.
And China's getting to the point too, like what other country can say anything negative about them? What, an African country, a European country? They have influence everywhere. You think Joe Biden's going to call them out on whatever's happened to Jack Ma? Two things. Do you think the Chinese government takes over his company? Number one, do you think they allow him to continue to run it like he has been? And number two, do you think he's gotten too comfortable? I do. I think when you have a worldwide business like that and you travel to the United States, you see how this is. I think he got a little comfortable. I think he lost grasp of just what they can do to him in his home country.
Is it comfortable or cocky? It's a big difference. Is it comfortable or cocky?
I'm going to say comfortable.
Okay.
Because I think he's got enough of an edge where he wouldn't allow himself to get cocky, to be able to build that business out of a one-bedroom apartment like he did. So I think it's comfort as opposed to cocky. Because I don't think you can get that cocky in China because there's constant reminders that we will squash you. So I think it's just a level of comfort. Private jet, G5 to the U.S., to Monaco, to the south of France, wherever you want to go. And you forget, this is where I'm from. These guys really do have their thumb on me and they can press me down at any time.
Pat, you know what I think would be helpful for, I mean, I'd like to know, and maybe our viewers would like to know, because I know you've done a lot of interviews regarding China, obviously, General Spalding and everything with that. How does the system actually work with the communist CCP, socialist agenda, like don't question it, versus, yeah, we allow capitalism to happen on the ground, so to speak. How do they have that balance? How does that work?
It's capitalism with respecting the top, okay? You cannot question the top. You cannot say, hey, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. There is none of that going on. You're not going to see a China media calling out what President Xi is doing. You're not going to wake up in the morning and see a CNN or a Fox type of a situation. It's not going to happen there. It's not a kind of a situation where they're bashing each other. You cannot do that. Like a CNN of the world calling out Trump or a Fox of the world calling out Obama, that's not going to happen in China.
On the media side of things.
But that's everything, though.
But
that's everything.
So they say, listen, you want to do business? Go ahead, do business.
As long as you don't disrespect and you do what we tell you to do. Okay. It's the culture.
So how does the cap...
Huh? It's like the mob. Yeah, it's like the mob, but...
But how does that hinder... entrepreneurship, capitalism, free spirit.
What hinders?
What happens there?
Okay, so give me the DNA of an entrepreneur.
I mean, everything we talk about every single day: toughness, grit, sticking it out, work ethic, principles. Everything.
DNA of an entrepreneur is what? I think I can do it better
than the government.
So So Jack gives a speech about how he thinks he can do it better, and he talks about lack of financial system, innovation must come at a price, and credit management. He thinks he can do it better. Is he inspired for him to be a president? Is he inspired politically for himself? Does he want to kind of take the next step? Is he kind of want to be the Trump where he wants to go out there and say, I want to go out? Is he a threat to President Xi because he's speaking at a time where he can be a more world leader type of person where he has connection with China, but he can also speak English. He's very eloquent where he can be more a global type of a power. Is he trying to play a power play to take the next position of life for himself? Does he want that? I don't know. I do know the way he started it. He says, my message is either immature, incorrect, laughable, and I'm semi-retired. A person who wants to be a president probably wouldn't start a speech like that.
Yeah.
Immature, incorrect, laughable, and I'm semi-retired.
Why would he even say that?
Because
say what?
He's got
like
a little
those
too
words. Is that
no, to say if you think I'm immature for saying this, I said it may be immature.
Yeah.
So I'm agreeing with you.
Immature.
I may be incorrect. You're right. I am incorrect. It may be laughable. You're right. I do agree with you that I may be laughable. So if you disagree, please know that I'm also in agreement with you.
So to button this up, because I know we probably need to move, Tom laid out 3 very viable scenarios, right? He's either dead, he's in hiding, or he's in custody. What's your vote?
I don't know. I honestly, I couldn't.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, I don't think he's dead. That's number one. So I take the dead out. I don't think he's dead. I don't think, even with all the private airports and how to leave the country fast without somebody saying he's leaving, if he left early before somebody coming after him, because I don't know the speed of how quickly this was relayed to the power people. If he's giving a speech, somebody in there is sitting there texting the right people that are working directly with G to say, here's what we just said. And here's a recording. So 21 minutes, I listened to them, boom.
I think if they wanted him, they'd be there in an instant.
So I couldn't tell you.
I'd love to hear what the audience thinks of those
Jonathan Lee Reynoso says, I give $10, if China really killed Ma, what will that do to the future of unicorns? Other countries need to market China entrepreneurs and offer them a safe haven. I don't disagree. So I'm saying I don't think that's the case. He may be in custody. He may be hiding. Probably more custody than hiding. I think it's more custody and revealing the stuff that they have on him to bring him back and train him for a few months of how to sound and look like when he gets on camera.
Maybe.
Wow.
I think it's more training right now.
Re-education.
It's education.
Like they have like the Uyghur Muslims in China.
Like when the mob went
brainwashing.
It's like when the mob went to, this week I interviewed a guy named...
Jack Falcone.
Not Jack Falcone, which was fascinating. He talked stories about Greg DePalma, the mob era. He was an FBI agent undercover 24 out of 26 years. Where he was undercover. No, but I talked to Dr. Cyril Wecht. I don't know if you know who Dr. Cyril Wecht is. He's the #1 pathologist, award-winning pathologist for the last 60 years. He's done 21,000 autopsies, okay? 21,000, and 41,000 he's monitored and supervised, 41,000 that he signed off on. He held Elvis's brain,
crap,
et cetera.
that's a lot of dead bodies.
Yeah, that's a lot of dead bodies. Got some very, very good stories that we're talking about. I don't know. I don't know I don't know. I almost don't want to say what I want to say here with this, but
what do you mean?
No.
What do you mean, PBD?
Yeah, I don't know.
He has to surface at some point. And then the question is, will he talk? Will he give the background?
He doesn't
of where
have
he's
to
been?
surface because we know
Look,
what that third option
the
is.
guys, the mob went to J. Edgar Hoover and said, "Hey, here's pictures of you. We know you're a
you're
cross-dresser. We know
cross-dressing,
you're
right,
gay.
yeah.
Hey, shut up and leave us alone. Don't say
Yeah.
anything anymore." J. Edgar Hoover went to Kennedy and said, "Hey, here's the pictures I got about
Marilyn Monroe.
Okay, so you got to stay quiet or else, okay? So that's like a regular thing. So,
Sure.
hey, Chinese CCP, hey, Jack Ma, this is what we got on you. Moving forward, here's your script. Here's this. We need you to sign this off. If you don't, we're going to ruin your life. What do you want to do? And we're going to train you for the next couple months until you agree to this. I think that's what's going on.
He could be a big piece of propaganda for them,
Yeah.
right? A big selling point.
I think so. I think so.
Tom, here are the pictures I have of you and Lauren Sanchez at your that 30th
Wrong.
birthday.
Wrong. I was an observer. That's it.
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.